Hello and welcome to round number 8 of the Carolina SimWorks Tuesday Night Thunder series from Homestead, Miami, Florida. This is Matt Houston for Race First. So we've got a really interesting race here tonight. It's going to be the greatest pack race this Tuesday Night Thunder has put on. I think we got everybody qualified. Looks like Chad Irvine still out on the track. But this race is basically going to be a white line nightmare, as they said in either the Road Warrior or maybe the Mad Max movie. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of cars holding on to that white line all the way around the track. These cars can go 2 and 3 wide, and it's going to be an interesting one here at Homestead, Miami. 1.5 miler track, only one on the calendar. We have broadcast PM-18 Indy Pro 2000 cars on 1.5 milers before, but it's going to be certainly interesting. Looks like Jason Owens currently out on track doing a qualifying run. We've got a couple drivers that have been told to do, will be sent into line at the start of the race. I believe that's Ray Kingsbury and double checking what the other one was. I checked it earlier, but I want to just double check. Watson, yeah, so our champion from the Schaefer's Turbo Series. So let's get to the grid here. Kevin Smalley's going to be on pole here tonight. Good run by him. James Curtis in second. Oyson Walsh in P3. Wes Shire, good run, P4. Jason Owens, P5. Alan Balacino in P6. Ken Soska, good run, P7. Chad Irvine, Simon Fell, Jason Perdue, Daniel Smith. Ray Kingsbury, he'll be sent to the end of the line as we discussed earlier. Mackenzie Galata there in P13. Patrick Byrne, 14th. Robert Gamble, Christopher Graham, James Watson also being sent to the end of the line. Michael Berry in P18, running on our field. Kurt Kelly, Mike Gossler, J. William Walker, and Guy Petra as we get this thing started here. I wanted to just double check one thing here. I want to see speeds here. So there's our average speed. So Smalley with that pole at a 162 mile an hour lap. So they'll be a little bit quicker in the race, I would assume. But interesting to note the speed there. Say hello if you're watching there tonight. Let me know your favorite driver you're looking at. And we'll get this thing going momentarily. Going to be doing 53 minutes, or thereabout anyway, as the pace car rolls away. Kevin Smalley, our pole sitter, followed by James Curtis. James helped us. He had some issues last week, and he ended up joining us in the booth, so we really appreciated that. But yeah, there's going to be... I think there's going to be a lot more green flag running than we've had and some of our other races out here. So got a fan of James William Walker out there in the crowd tonight, starting 21st, driving Red Bull car. And we'll be going green momentarily. Christian Jasper's back out there. Familiar name across all the series. And the pace car is about to duck in. We go up to the blimp? Nah, let's keep it on the TV cam. And we have our green flag, so Kevin Smalley leads us to the green. Walsh there in P3, that black and red car. He's actually not the championship leader because he missed a race. That is Ray Kingsbury. Kingsbury starting at the back of the field. Keep an eye on him tonight. Side by side. Owens taking a low line, just letting everybody go by, I think, back there. Yeah, as he rejoins the track. Have to do that really safely there. Through the grass he goes. That's tricky. Jasper going on him on the outside, as Smalley will lead our first lap here tonight. This is kind of the old school IRL style pack race out here. Got another car doing that apron line. James Curtis making it work on the outside, but he needs a little bit of help out there. Or he's going to drop back behind Walsh there in E2. Got another car ducking out of line. I think that's Soska. Coming to the pits. Not sure if that's unscheduled stop. He might have, passing before the green line penalty, or is he just rejoining here? I think he's just rejoining. You can see those cars come at us. James Curtis still making that outside line work, though, as Westshire there in P4. Balchino just got around him, though. Or at least that's what my data says. What I see is different, though. That is Balchino. Okay, Shire's car is kind of a similar color there. Looks like, unfortunately, J. William Walker on pit lane, as well as Soska. So that's an interesting call. It didn't seem to be any sort of penalty or anything like that. Very interesting call by these drivers. So in the previous races, we discussed they'd be running about 22 to 25 minutes between pit stops, so we might end up having, if this goes green flag like it is right now, we might end up having a couple pit stops. Curtis making it work on the outside there in that green car. See if he can duck right underneath, right in front of Walsh there, black and red car. So Soska and Walker are a lap down. We do lucky dogs here, though, so they could get their lap back if we had some caution. Let's go on board with somebody back here. Maybe Christopher Graham. Kind of a good view of him. Maybe we've actually got a couple different groups. I think, whoa, got that Force India looking livery out there. That was of Daniel Smith there on the outside. Simon fell directly ahead of Graham. Fell in that familiar livery that he runs in the IndyCar, in the PM-18, and it looks like Patrick Byrne making a move on the outside there. Has a really good run, but he might get bogged down when Daniel Smith's car doesn't keep going with that run, although it looks like he's going to get around Graham here. I want to check out Kingsbury. So Kingsbury, he qualified 12th, but he was relegated to the back after an incident in the previous race caused something there. Got some old F1 liveries in this race. It looks like got a Jordan livery there and that yellow Buzzin' Hornets car. Not sure exactly who that is. Let's see, not Kingsbury, that's for sure. But yeah, if you look, if we can get a good view, you can see this group from about 17th back is broke off from the main group. So if there's kind of a big one, these guys won't be part of it. Heading back up to the front, though. Still side by side. It looks like Curtis on the outside at least has somebody working with him now. And that appears to be... Is that Patrick? No, but that Daniel Smith has made it up to that group now. So we've got 2x2, not at the front, but in that second row, 2x2 from there, just about. As it seems like a lot has happened in this race, but we're only about 5-6 minutes into this one. Good job by Smalley up there at the front, maintaining this lead. Pressure from Walsh from behind, but he hasn't given into it. Walsh, really quick, week in and week out. Really great engineering expertise from him. But Smalley appears like he's got something this week. Going back to fastest laps. Okay, so this is the fastest laps of these cars so far. So it looks like Petra at a 164.611. That appears to be the fastest lap. That would be faster than the pole. So as I expected. These guys at the front aren't faster though. As Curtis is able to get in line there in P3. Yeah, let's see. So it looks like Ken and J. William Walker are with the second group. You know, we've kind of got two groups. Well, it looks like Ken Soska's in the back of the first group and J. William Walker at the back of the second group. Just kind of biding their time, waiting for a yellow. Maybe it can work out for them and they can get their laps back. You can throw a blanket over, as they say, over about the top 16 cars in this field. People keeping it really clean out here tonight. All it takes is tire-to-tire contact, though. I would expect it to happen at some point in time. It's really the inevitable. Everybody knows it's going to happen at some point, and they just don't want to be part of it. And certainly we don't want it at the front of the pack, because that would just take out a bunch of cars. So Patrick Byrne here, that's in kind of a Lotus, Team Lotus, classic Team Lotus car. Livery there. He dropped back quite a few positions there. He was up in the top 5 at one point almost, and probably just opting to bide his time there until later on in the race. Watson back here. So Watson really proud of his championship last week on Wednesday when he won the Schaefer's Turbo Series. Schaefer's Turbo will be making a comeback here in June, and they're going to be running PM-18s as well for the entire series this time, rather than mixing between PM-18s and the IndyCar. Some interesting stuff going back in this midfield here, side by side. That's Baldacchino in that navy blue car with Daniel E. Smith on the outside in that Sahara Force India livery. Robert Gamble up there. Gosler on the outside. That's Purdue, and that other navy blue car is Westshire. Let's go on board with Wes here in the Homestead Coffee livery car. Received my next shipment of the Homestead Coffee today. Just holding that white line all the way around the track. Not much more, I'm just gonna keep repeating that all night. Got Mike Gosler on the outside there. A little bit of, oh, we got a blinker right there. That's never good. It's always a worrying sign when you see a blinker. You can see that second group back there. Not really much they can do at this point. Even if they all decide to group together, they're still never going to catch this front unless we have a caution, which we'll see. We're going to have some green flag pit stops at some point in time if we don't have a caution, and that'll get really interesting. Smalley was quite good at the green flag pit stops and the other Tuesday night, Friday event, the Special Events League at the iRacing Super Speedway. That was in ARCA class, and he made that green flag pit stop really work. Have a look at back here with this group. Jason Owens is now leading that group with Kingsbury on the outside line. Looks like Jasper, part of this group as well, Michael Berry. This is actually our biggest grid of the season, with 23 cars starting here tonight. Back up to the front, Smalley still leads, led every lap so far here tonight. That white line, inside line, really working out for him. Don't think he can get by, so I think it's all going to be about pit stops here and how these groups cycle through after the first pit stop. And actually, one interesting thing here, if this goes green the whole time, the J. William Walker and Ken Soska might not have to pit. They'll have to pit one more time, but the rest of these guys out here definitely have to probably pit 2 more times right at the end. So that's the strategy with Ken Soska and William Walker, that they might be able to come back from this if this race goes all the way to the end on green flag, which we have not seen yet, but in this Tuesday Night Thunder. But certainly would be an interesting strategy if that was to happen. Curtis back on the outside line there, seeing if he can do anything, get around Walsh. One thing these drivers are going to have to figure out, we got a little bit of smoke back there. That could be just frame rate, like a lagger with their network connection. Go on board with Walsh here in 3rd position. I bet these drivers' knuckles are going to be white by the end of this race. This is the kind of race where you might not be steering as much as you do in other races, but you're certainly gripping the wheel a lot harder, just naturally. Micro movements on the wheel more so than big wheel movements like you'd see at a road course or some of our shorter ovals. It's very tense out here. So we might be about 7 minutes away from our first round of pit stops. You can hear Curtis, his car is bottoming out through the corners. Might be slowing him down just a little bit on that outside line. Oh, we got Watson on pit lane, making an early stop. So what Watson has to do, though, here is he'll need to get into a group. Hopefully he gets back out in a group. It's not hung out to dry. There is another... Okay, this is the lead group, so he's going to stick with them. He's going to be the first car to try a strategy here. Can he get back on the track, though? Whoa! And there is a yellow flag there. That was tough. That takes out another car. Let's see, who was that? Was it Petra? No? That was a tough one there. Wow. Well, we'll get a replay of that. So Guy Petra had just pit, so he might be okay. This is going to work out for him great. He might actually take over the lead because he just pit, and I think he's held his lap. Wow. So let's get a replay of that, though. That was interesting how that worked out as we got... So he's... So this is Watson coming out of the pits here. Trying to get a good camera angle. And that is going to take out a couple of cars. Ouch. So that was... Balacino was the one in contact with all of that. Really tough break for Balacino there. Let's go on board with him for this. Gonna see Watson in that yellow car on the left. I'm not sure what you know. Balacino couldn't have got out of the way. There was, oh man, that is just tough. He actually keeps, until the very end, he actually kept it off of the wall. Wow. He's gonna need some repairs though. That is a tough break for Balacino there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some very choice words going on there. So Mike Gosler has stayed out. He was involved in that. He's actually going to lead a lap here. And as I mentioned, Petra, I think, is going to take over the lead. And Walsh is going to stay in P2. But Smalley... goes back to, it'll be third at the line. So Smalley loses the lead to Walsh anyway. Walsh gets ahead of him. Let's get a word from our sponsor here. You gotta pay the bills sometimes, and we haven't had much caution here, so we'll get a shout out from Carolina Simworks. Lights are out on the pace car. We're gonna have Guy Petra, who started 22nd in this field, leading us back to the green. HSBC Ford livery. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I think it's certainly a Formula One inspired livery. HSBC is a UK-based bank, but Ford on the engine cover. Not 100% sure. Maybe somebody out there in the crowd knows what that livery is. So we'll see what Smalley can do. He led all those laps, and now he's going to have to get around Walsh here. And those cars near the back are not going to want to have as big of a gap. Jasper's leaving a really, really big gap to Patrick Byrne back there. And we have our green flag. So everybody get cleanly through. So far, so good. Walsh is going to try to go inside, I think. Petra leaves the door open. And Walsh is going to take the lead there. Oh no, he's maintained it on the outside. He's making that outside line work. He's got help from Curtis. Petra's going to maintain the lead. Now this is interesting. And Curtis is going to go low and try to take the lead. Leaving Petra out to dry up there. A good move by Curtis there. Looks like Gosler back there on the inside line. Got a battle for the lead here between Curtis and Walsh. These guys are not strangers from earlier races. Smalley is in third. He's going to look on the outside line. Walsh is really, really close on Curtis's gearbox there. Let me go on board with Walsh. Petra's back to fifth. That yellow flag did not help J. William Walker. He's still a lap down. As we have about halfway through the race, maybe a minute or so off of being halfway through the race. James Curtis leads. Smalley's dropped back just slightly. Who's really struggling tonight is Kingsbury. That end of the line penalty has really been tough on him. He's with his quasi-teammate and Chad Irvine there, 15th and 16th. Let's see if they can try to get something going there. Owen's also back in that group. Gotta be careful to not leave that door open there for Walsh to get his front wing underneath, and then, you know, pretty much it's game over and you lose the position if that happens. 3 wide back there is Byrne and Gosler and Petra. Everybody's driving in their mirrors here. Single file from about 1st to 9th. And then another group is forming from 10th with Gosler and Mackenzie Galata is there with Patrick Byrne as well. Looking at this group. Yeah, they're going to lose that draft up to the front if they don't get this thing sorted out, and I don't think they are. Soska there making a move on the outside. So we will need another pit stop here to get us to the end. So either a caution happens or another, green flags, not another, but a green flag pit stop. We didn't get a green flag pit stop. We were just moments from it earlier. Side by side in that second group back there. They aren't messing around back here. Jasper on the really high line here. Started 23rd up to 13th. Christian always gives us a shout out before the race on Twitter. Oh, as a really close call there between Kingsbury trying to make it in the middle with Jasper, and Kingsbury is going to take over that 13th spot. Kingsbury is our championship leader. At some point, he's going to have to make a move. Oh, was that number 20 car, that was Kurt Kelly, really goes up the track. 3 wide is sandwiched between Galata and Galata and Gosler there. Kingsbury's going to be up to 10th. It says he started 12th, but he had to go back to about 22nd, 23rd at the start of the race. Kingsbury knows he's got to get moving at this point in this race. And so now he's the lead of the second pack. Heading back up to the front, more of the same. Single file from 1st to 8th now. Simon Fells in that 8th position in that multicolored car. Valacino did get out of the car after that accident. Graham Jr. also involved. He's 4 laps down. Is he back on the track? Or yeah, he's driving around on his own. Yeah, that was the other car. Interesting sponsorship on that car. Walsh looks for a moment kind of on a higher trajectory. Shades of Bristol, where Curtis was in the lead at one point in time there. It was a battle between Walsh wasn't there. It was Kingsbury and Irvine, I believe, in that. Oh, and Curtis given a little bit of room there for Walsh. Wouldn't leave that door open that much there if I was Curtis. Heading back to the second group. This is the exciting group, but I want to keep an eye on the lead group if anything happens. Two by two, 3 wide way there, back there. Still trying to figure out which car. I'm gonna go on board here. Okay, so it is Barry who's running the Jordan F1 livery here this week. Chatteravine with an interesting livery. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Changes it every week, just about. Oh, we almost had some contact between Barry and Burn back there. Irvine's gonna try to make it 3 wide. Gonna get some help from Barry on that outside line. Three wide for about 10th position back here. 9th position is Kingsbury. Check out what's going on back at the front just to make sure. Just single file at the front. We'll head back to this 9th place group. Cars all over the place back here, moving around a lot in these corners. Jasper on that outside line. Looks like James Watson. Whoa, swiping across the front of Kingsbury there. James Watson at the lead of this group now. They settled down a little bit and they're single file, but I don't think that Kingsbury is going to appreciate that particular move. And I wouldn't be surprised if Watson... Oh, we got cars heading to the pit lane. Interesting strategy called. They can make it to the end of the race, whatever happens. This is why they're doing this. So interesting call. Again, these 20 to 25 minutes on the pits, so we're under 20 minutes. So this could be, if there's a yellow flag, all those lead lap cars are going to have to, pit under the yellow, and then Kingsbury here could cycle to the lead, for instance. Although they're all going to go a lap down, so I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work, but it's an interesting strategy nevertheless. And maybe they avoid any big crash if there is one. This is going to be pretty interesting how this all cycles through. I can't imagine the leaders are going to pit. You have to have nobody hit each other on that pit lane and all that sort of stuff, so it's going to be really tough for these guys. They're going to be hyped. Curtis joined us in the booth last week. He's out there on the track this week. Had a tough break last week. Several cars did last week. We had internet issues in that race where 5 cars, as well as the broadcast, were dropped. Some sort of issue with the internet lines there to iRacing. And it was actually a known issue. They even posted about it in the forums that particular internet service provider having some issues that particular day. So Owens and Kingsbury, they're a lap down, so, but they don't have to pit. They're counting on everybody pitting here, which, let's see here. Yeah, I don't think Curtis and this group need to pit anytime soon. Probably about at least 10 minutes away from them having to pit. Go on board with Homestead Coffee, Westshire here. Started 4th, running 6th. So now we have kind of 3 groups in this field. I'll check that out in a moment. Those cars that pit are their own group now. Staying on board with West Shire here. Shire will be running his own league here in a couple weeks. It'll start over in the Reddit IndyCar League. They're currently in their off season until June, and he'll be running a USF 2000 league that'll run a mix of road courses. A couple ovals on there, but I'd say it's more road courses. Trying to mimic the USF 2000 series in real life. Open setup too, although those cars aren't particularly complicated with their setups. Alright, see if we can see our groups out here yet. No. There's one group. This is the Watson, Gosler, and that's actually Jasper group there, so... Jasper, yeah, Jasper pit, but this didn't quite work out for him. This is back to 20th. So, okay, from P16 back, they have pit. From P1 to P15, they will need to pit still. Looking at our stats here, so Curtis is currently in 11th position in points. He has had 3 top 5s. He's driven really strong in some races, but he's also had some bad luck in a couple of races, like last week as an example. Kind of a first lap snafu for him, and through no fault of his own, got involved with that and ended his day. And we have Curtis hitting the pit lane here. It's time to go, I guess. He's got Smith behind him. Gamble, Perdue. Walsh is going to stay out there. He's going to lead a lap. And we'll see if Smalley and them opt to pit this time. It does not appear that they're going to. They're going to stay out. West Shire is going to move up to 3rd. They're going to stay out. So now everybody from 9th back has, well, actually I shouldn't say that, 12th back has pit. Okay, actually Daniel Smith from 9th back again has pit. Curtis, Smith getting around Curtis in those pit stops, and now Curtis is going to be fighting with... this is really going to be interesting how this all cycles through when everybody pits. Because these cars are spreading out, they're losing their drafts. Really don't know who's going to end up leading this thing. It could be Walsh here. Kingsbury... and this group, I think they're just a little bit too far back, but we'll see how this all cycles through in the end. See some lap traffic ahead of Walsh. Mackenzie Galata coming down pit lane. When will these leaders decide to do it? So P1, Walsh, Smalley, Shire, Simon Fell, Gosler. Actually, that car, yeah, that other car there is, who's that, the 64? So that is not part of this lead group. That is a lapped car there. And Walsh continues to stay out. And Walsh decides to pit. Smalley stays out, Shire stays out, Fell stays out. That might be really important too, because if Walsh doesn't have anybody to work with after these pit stops, he might drop back. Smalley takes the lead once again. We'll see if Shire and Smalley end up working together for a couple more laps. Simon Fell hits the pit lane. From a third position. Oh, and he almost loses it under braking. Hopefully no speeding penalties. I'm looking at the times on the pits. Nobody's actually had a speeding penalty, so good driving standards here. Everybody from fourth back has now pit. Walsh is in this group. Curtis is about a second and a half behind him. He's got some help from Daniel Smith. Walsh is a little bit slower that last lap. I think this staying out for Smalley, if they can get in and out of the pits quickly, I think this could leapfrog him to the lead. As Shire hits the pit lane. I think if I was Smalley, I would have hit the pit lane with Shire, though. So we'll see how Shire comes out towards Walsh there. Going on board with Curtis, though. That is Walsh, that car way in the distance. It's about a second and a half ahead. A little bit less than 9 minutes to go, a little bit more than 8. Curtis should be able to wheel in Walsh there. And through that cycle of pit stops, Kingsbury has just kind of stayed 10th with Watson in 9th, so that group really hasn't made any progress there. Smalley hits the pit lane. Smalley gets his, so some cars have opted for tires, other cars have not. This could be a make or break here. Walsh is coming around. Smalley's coming out of the pits. Let's see, how does this cycle through? Looks like Walsh is going to get him. Walsh is going to maintain that lead. Oh boy. And we have Curtis making it around on the outside to the slow car of Smalley. Heck of a run by Curtis at the moment. He's going to pull out, try to get around, battle for the lead here. And he gets around. James Curtis gets around Walsh there. Power move for the lead. Side by side. No messing about there for Walsh. He knew, or so for Curtis, to get around Walsh, he knew he had the moment to make it. That was his moment. And now we're 2x2. Shire back there in P5. That is Daniel Smith in that gray Force India car. Kevin Smalley in the gray and orange car. Power move by Curtis there. Awesome move by Curtis. Oh boy, I saw him get a little bit squirrely there on that apron. Right on that white line in the corner. Got to be careful with that. Smalley tries to take it 3 wide on Walsh. Walsh a little bit moving around there on that second line. Oh boy, the almost contact with that right rear tire of Curtis. We're 6 minutes to go here. That's going to be about 12, 13 laps to go. A lot of green flag running here tonight. Things are going to happen in these last laps that these drivers might not be proud of tomorrow if it doesn't work, but if they can get this win, they will be. Daniel E. Smith cannot kind of stay with this group, it doesn't seem, although Shire dropping back just a little bit. Walsh is going to have to make a move on the outside if he wants to win this one. But Walsh might be happy with where he's at, although with I said, he's trying to make it work on the outside. Does he have anybody to help him? That is how Curtis made it work, but it was with a mega toe. Whoa, we had Kevin Smalley there almost come into contact. Oh, we've got lap traffic ahead. If things were any more crazy here, we've got lap traffic coming up. Oh boy, Walsh just going up the track there. Looks like lap traffic is going to stick out of the way. I think that might be Gosler or Barry up there. Is that Shire trying to make it work on the outside there with that lap traffic? He has to pull out of it, though. That's Graham, actually. Let's see who that was, getting out of the way. Shire trying to help Walsh on the outside there. Smalley dropped back to 5th position there. 3 wide for 3rd spot. 2x2 from 1st to 4th. That group. This is gonna be that puff of smoke. Not appreciated by so Walsh currently edged out Curtis there, but not at the line. Let's go on board with Curtis here. So you'd see these cars up ahead. I'm not sure how I'd be feeling if I was him. Like, what are these cars gonna do when they get up there? They're catching up that lap traffic there. This is actually Galata, who's in 19th. So this group is going to want to stay out of the way. Looks like they're going to let Curtis maintain that position, but Walsh is trying to make it work for him on the outside. 3 wide, lap cars on the very top of the line there. I just keep feeling like we're about to wreck here, but so far so good. Curtis doesn't quite have anybody helping him there, though. So Walsh apparently has led that lap. So that, then Curtis comes back when they're into the corner here. So we'll see if Walsh might be just trying to see if he can get something to work on that outside line. checking ahead. Any more lap traffic ahead of Curtis? It looks like we're clear to the end. Under a minute and a half to go. Smalley had to pit. Unfortunately, he had an issue there. Might have got up into the wall. And those lapped cars are able to hang with the leaders now. Oh boy. A little bit of contact. Oh boy. And Walsh is into the wall. And that is going to be a tough break. Oh boy. He's trying to get it going here. Get to the end of the race to make... so he doesn't end up finishing last. But that's going to be the race here. Saying 9 laps to go, but that is incorrect. The car's running pretty well. But Curtis... Curtis looks like he's going to be our winner here. Smith in second, Shire in third. Let's see if we can get a quick replay of what happened there. Shire contact with Walsh. I think Walsh sprung up the track. There's a little bit of contact. And Walsh just goes into the wall, hard into the wall there. Head back up to live pictures here. This 8 laps to go is incorrect. Okay, there it updates. This is the final lap here. Yeah, so this is... Curtis is going to be psyched about this one, though. Yeah, we'll be getting interviews with our top guys here. Great race here tonight. Let's see, where is... Kingsbury's in 9th. Where is... Oh, Walsh is going to end up 7th. So not the end of the world for Walsh. Going to be back here. And that is the checkered flag for James Curtis. Or we're going to have one more lap here. Nope, we're done. Daniel Smith second, West Shire in P3. Word from our sponsors here before we get going with our interviews. So, Walsh was, or not Walsh, Curtis was doing a celebration there, and some other drivers did a little bit of, this is all in fun here, did some crashing into him there. Let's see, who was that? That was Kingsbury and our admin there, Jason Owens, I believe. So let's get our set up here for our interviews. We'll pull James Watson up here. Well, they're not letting me drag anybody anymore. Maybe from the broadcast room. So, yeah, come to the broadcast room and then I can interview you. Things have changed since the last week. I'll wait here for a moment. Hopefully somebody notices that I can't drag anybody this week. Drag myself. We will see what happens. Maybe nobody wants to be interviewed after this one. I don't know. I'll write them a message if I can. There we go. I think I can drag James here. Hey, James. I couldn't drag you from the driver chat, so I was hoping you noticed. Oh, we got no sound from me, so I'll fix that. Hey, James, do you have a copy?
Hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah,
sorry, push to talk.
Yeah, mine was on push to talk too, so I fixed that, but I couldn't drag anybody either at first, so I was hoping you guys noticed that you needed to be in the waiting room. I don't know if something changed, but tell me about that race, man. You had a power move right there, kind of at the end to get by, I think it was Walsh, right after the pits, and that was awesome move, and you led it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, so he pitted pretty quickly, and it was almost kind of what happened to Denny Hamlin at Daytona, right? He pitted too good and gave me too much of a gap, and so by the time I got there, I just flew right by. So no problem passing him there, and then it was just holding him off. I had a really fast setup all day, so he was gonna have a really hard problem getting by me, and I think he might be a little upset there, but he was all over my back tire there the past few laps, and trying to pinch me off, and that's kind of what happens sometimes.
Yeah, he might have had a little bit of contact with your right rear tire, but I didn't see anything. You moving up the track, it's kind of the kind of racing that this does. This pack racing. It was really exciting in the booth here tonight. So great run, man. It was really exciting, and we had green flag pit stops. You can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, that was exciting too. It was kind of stressful trying to figure out when to go into the pits. I didn't want to get hung out there too late because you can actually pit and not get a lap down. So I wanted to make sure I got in there and pitted. I heard the pit call from other teams and was, figured, hey, if a yellow comes out and I'm stuck out here, I'm screwed. So gotta go to the pits right now.
Exactly. Well, that's your first win of the season, although you've been up here. I was looking at the stats earlier. You've had some good luck and some bad luck, I think, because you're like something 11th in points. You'll obviously improve tonight, but another good finish, a great finish here tonight. Anybody? You actually had some people watching because I saw some people rooting for you in the chat. You want to give any shout outs, any sponsors, anything like that?
Hey, a big shout out to everybody that was watching. Really appreciate it. Matt, you put on a great broadcast, and I'm glad everybody can catch it. And I'm glad they could see a win this week. It's been kind of a rough past 3 weeks.
Yeah, last week wasn't good for you, but you've come back strong here. And I should always know this, but where are we heading next week? It looks like it's a really different track. We're going to Lucas Oil.
Yes. This week was it's gonna be boring next week probably.
Yeah, hopefully we can get the setups sorted out and have some green flag running there. So any thoughts going there next week?
Really just got to work my qualifying setup, try to get up front, and just run up front all race and stay on top of pit strategy because it's all about position there. It's so hard to pass.
Yeah. All right. Well, celebrate this one though, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Matt. Woo!
Yep. Great win. Hey, Daniel. This is Matt up here in the booth.
Hello.
How's it going? So you started 11th. You came back to finish second. You kept going with those green flag pit stops, and it kind of really helped you in the end. The strategy call that you made, in the particular lap that you pit, and you got back up, pretty much to the front. So great run.
Yeah. It was. I'm very new to this, and I credit it all to beginner's luck and timing things perfectly. And I saw a car go down onto the apron going into the pit lane, and I'm like, hey, I've been following him all race. I'm just going to keep following him. And it ended up being the right call.
Yeah, that's kind of what you end up. I saw some cars making pits, and I was like, they're kind of making a pit by themselves. And I think he wanted to stay with a partner out there, whether that was somebody you actually knew or just somebody you decided to pick to hang on to. And that sounds like what your strategy was. But really good run here. Any shout outs to anybody watching, any sponsors, anything like that?
Actually, this was kind of a last minute thing, so I forgot to tell everyone to watch, but I will be sure to send them the highlights because I want to make sure people know that this is something I do.
Very cool. Well, this was probably, I don't know, from the broadcast perspective, I'd say it's probably like the best race of the season. Maybe from the drivers, maybe pack racing they might not like. I don't know. Some drivers don't like it, but it was good fun. And great finish there this week. So next week is Lucas Oil. Any thoughts going there?
No idea. I've never turned a lap around the track, so I guess I got to get to practicing.
Yeah, it's a track. I can tell you because I have that it is a track that will benefit. It's very track position heavy, so that means qualifying is super important. And not crashing into anybody on those cold tires will be really important. So, well, we look forward to seeing you next week and seeing what you can do.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey, Wes. Matt up here in the booth.
Hey, long time no see.
Well, not that long.
Yeah.
And actually, we've been talking a lot more recently, I feel like.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Since Detroit, you won that at Belle Isle, and we've been talking more. So tell me about your race. Started fourth, you finished third.
Yeah, for the most part, it was just staying out of trouble, running around like 80% throttle, and just, don't get caught up in anything. And that worked until my final pit stop. There was an interesting incident. I gotta go back and take a look, but somebody, I guess, came across onto the pit out lane right in front of me as I was exiting, so I had to get off the throttle there. Honestly, I think without that, I may have come out in the lead, or certainly closer to the front than I did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's close enough I could just draft back up.
Well, it sounds like, so James, he was like a second back from Ocean there, but he got this like mega slingshot, and that's what, put him in the front. So, I don't know if you wanted to be that close on somebody. You might not have been able to get like a major slingshot like James did after those pit stops. But yeah, the green flag pit stops, nobody got like a speeding penalty, I don't think. So I'm very surprised about that. Did you take tires on your pit stop?
No, I didn't take tires.
I think some people did in the back, but I'm sure they're second guessing that, because I see your pit time was like a 5-second, but I do see a couple drivers with like a 7.5. So
yeah,
I think that's taking tires with that. So I don't think James or anybody at the front was taking tires. Yeah, great run. Tell us about your sponsor.
Yeah, gotta thank Homestead Coffee for keeping me awake and alert, giving me the reflexes to not kill everyone and wreck out these pack racing, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Let's just leave
Yeah,
it at that.
it's actually my thing. So like, I'm not a big pack racing fan either, but I will say it makes for a great podcast.
Yeah, that seemed like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Particularly the last 10 or 15 laps there.
Yeah,
That
it
was pretty
was.
wild.
I'm proud of you guys that we went. What it was, it 2 cautions, like one in the middle and one at the end, like.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But yeah, like that's it was perfect race. Probably the best race for the broadcast anyway that we've had this season. Although Iowa was pretty good. Yeah, that was a good one. So, but yeah, going back to Homestead Coffee, I got my shipment again today, so I'm refilled, and so I'll be hopped up on the Homestead Coffee for about the next month before I'll need my next
All right.
shipment too. So,
Good to hear.
yeah, it's some good stuff. I do try out different sponsors that are out here in the leagues, and that's certainly one of them that gets a thumbs up from Race First. So. But yeah, great run there, Wes. Next week's Lucas Oil, so something totally different.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I
I'm
like it.
really looking forward to it.
It sounds like you've been working on a setup then.
Not yet, but I have a really good idea of where I'm going.
Okay, well, it's going to be different. It's going to be driving that top line, I think. But we'll see. We'll see what these cars can do. I don't know if you know, but I had the great idea once to run an IndyCar race there. It went sort of okay, although only like 1 or 2 cars finished on the lead lap. So,
I'll be honest, I would absolutely try that.
yeah,
That sounds like my kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it was kind of a short oval IndyCar league, and kind of what you guys are doing here, but only with the IndyCars, and it didn't have the greatest participation, but it was fun.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see you next week there, Wes, and hope to see you back at the front.
Yeah, I hope to see you back up here next week. And thanks for the broadcast, and thanks to Jason for putting it all on. Yeah,
always good to have Jason supporting us here, and of course, Carolina SimWorks, the new title sponsor of the series.
Can't forget Carolina SimWorks.
All right, you take care there, Wes.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one.
You too. All right, that's it for us here tonight. Let me just go through final results here. James Curtis winning here this first race, first win of the season. Daniel Smith in P2, Wes Shire in P3, Robert Gamble. That's I didn't even notice him coming up there at the end, I guess. In P4, Simon Fell, P5, Jason Padu in P6. Oyson Walsh there finishes P7 after leading there near the end, but with that heavy contact to finish P7, he that's good for the points. He finishes ahead of Ray there in P9. Owens there in P8. Chad Irvine P10. Michael Berry P11. James Watson P12. I wouldn't be surprised if James gets an EOL penalty next race, but, won't be the end of the world. We know James is a strong driver and he can come back from anywhere in the field and finish well. Gosler in P13. Christian Jasper P14. Ken Soska P15. And... okay, that's actually all correct. Sometimes we get some messed up listings here. Patrick Jabern, P16, P17, Kurt Kelly, Mackenzie Galata, P18, Kevin Smalley. Tough break there for Kevin. Having an issue. We didn't quite get it on camera, but I think he brushed the wall, had to pit late. J. William Walker, P20. Christopher Graham, P21, Guy Petra, P22, and Alan Bellacino involved with that early crash. Not his fault. Really tough break for him. So that will lead us out with a commercial once again for Carolina SimWorks. Thanks to them and Jason in the series here for putting us on here.